So what makes a house more desirable? Because they always say like the kitchen is like something that's like a big item. Like what? You as a realtor, what would you suggest people that are looking to sell their home or even buy a home? Like what's the desirable things that people can do to add value to their homes?
Well, I think general maintenance. I find a lot of times when people are ready to sell their house, they got in the house ain't been pressure washed since 06. You know, it need pressure washing. You can tell it's deferred maintenance on the property. So you need to get that stuff done if you want to sell for top dollar. If you have a kitchen, and we know how those kitchens look back in the day, but it was the walnut color cabinets, and you walked in the house, it was like burgundy walls, and the other room was yellow. I'm gonna need you to get agreeable gray here ASAP.
If you sound like my old grandma.
If your fridge is white, if
your refrigerator is still white, but your stove is black because you replaced the stove when it broke, but your refrigerator is still kicking. These certain things you're gonna need to do. So you need to be prepared to just general maintenance. Unless you're trying to sell it below value, if you want to sell for top dollar, you need to present a product like that. The kitchen counts. The general maintenance of the property is what is really important to a lot of people. Yeah,
one thing that they looked at and they took into account was the roof. Roof is important too.
Oh yeah, roof is huge. Yeah, I mean, if you're a homeowner, you need to be calling your home. You need to call your little insurance company anyway. Was there some hail here? You better watch the news.
So, but it's kind of tricky because it's like if you're trying to sell a home, at what point do you do too much renovation and it's like not really worth it?
Oh, that's when you start looking at the comp. So I tell people all the time, there is a certain cat in your neighborhood. So don't go put in marble floors in a $200,000 house. You're not going to get your money back.
Right.
You know, you have to be very careful about that. So when you're looking at comps, look at the photos of what recently sold too. Look at, and then get a good idea of your area and your demographic. If you got a $500,000 house, don't use that sticker backsplash that you can get from Home Depot. I'm gonna need you to get some real tile back there. But if you're selling a $160,000 house, you can throw the sticker up there. You gotta know.
We spoke about that on the episode with Matt when we were talking about 50 Cent. He put this multi-million-dollar home renovations in it in a neighborhood that the average house is like $300,000.
It makes no sense. It's never gonna
white elephant.
It's a white elephant.
It's a white elephant, and you're never gonna. First of all, the appraiser ain't gonna be able. They're not gonna be able to comp that. Like what? Why would you? Like no. You got to stay in line with the neighborhood.
So you want to stay in line?
You want to stay in line. You could do a little something extra, but don't expect to get your money out of it if you take it too far.
Don't go. That's important for people to know, because a lot of times people want to just do crazy things and put the jacuzzi with the grotto.
You do that. You do that if you want that, but
got the movie theater.
You got a whole movie theater. And it might have cost you all this money, but you ain't getting it back.
Strobe lights and everything.
Heated pool.
Shout out to 50, man.
It's sold.
Yeah. So when somebody's selling a house, what are some of the fees, right? I think people don't really understand that. What are some of the fees that come along with selling a house?
When you selling your property, you paying to sell your property. So there's a lot of fees that can come along with that. So you have of course, general maintenance, getting the house ready to go on market, but you pay the agent. You pay us. Who you think pay us? The buyers? Oh no. You pay the buyer's agent and the selling agent. So you have those expenses, and then the only other expense that you have is like your prorated taxes. And if you have a homeowners association, you're gonna have to get the clear HOA letter. So your fees are minimal. Yeah. But the biggest fee you pay is your realtor.
What about, is that the closing costs as well? Because I see it's like tricky. Sometimes the buyer has it, sometimes the seller does it. How does that work?
Well, this is the thing. The buyer can negotiate closing costs. You look at the market, you look at the area. You need to, when you're pricing the property, you need to look at also, I personally look at what's been going on in the area, the recent sales, and on average, what are the sellers contributing? Because my biggest thing is I don't want you to set the expectation that nobody's contributing anything, and you don't have to, when the whole area, everybody's in contribute $10,000 on the average. Okay. They don't have to contribute. Yeah. If you get like an FHA loan, they can contribute up to 6%. They can do 3% on a conventional loan, but they don't have to contribute anything because that's their profit. So if you get enough demand for the property, which is, my thing is getting multiple offers, creating a bidding war, and like, hey, somebody not gonna need the money, or you need $1,000, boom. I'm taking that offer before I take somebody to need $10,000.
Okay.
How do you negotiate? Okay, you can negotiate closing costs, but what's the lowest you can go on that?
0. I have sold houses where my sellers have contributed no dollars to the closing costs. Find your own money.
Really?
Yes. I tell buyers that all the time. Like, you're not entitled to the profit from the seller. The seller has their own expenses. They're paying these realtors fees, sometimes 7% realtor fees that they have to pay just to even get their property sold. They don't necessarily have to. It depends on the area, the demand that you create by staging the property, getting the property prepared for marketing, pricing it correctly, and having an agent like me, out there. You may not have to. You may not have to pay.
So has anybody tried to negotiate? Do you negotiate your fees?
No.
Non-negotiable. Not playing that game.
Let me tell you something. I tell people
that's the number, y'all. That is the number.
My favorite line is, if you want me to negotiate my fees, can I negotiate my service?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you want me, as long as I can negotiate my service, we can do this.
I like that.
So that's the seller's fees. Now the commissions fee. Is there a standard commission fee for realtors?
Yeah, and it's subjective. 7%, 6%, 7%.
Okay.
And so that's about the fee of it. The total price of the property times 7%.
Yeah, because that's like these $1 million listings like that. You ever watch that show?
Police. Yeah, I watch that show.
That's because I think that's like what people really like are attracted.
That's what you want. Yes, that's what you want. Because then you still split the money. You got the selling side and the buyer side. The way for you to really come in. So I list the property.
Yeah.
So I get my 6% commission if I bring a buyer and I'm representing the seller. Because in our state we can do dual agency.
I was going to ask you
represent both, but. If you bring the buyer, then I got to give you half of that. So I get my 3, you get 3.
Okay.
So it's not a conflict of interest to represent both?
Depends. It can be a conflict of interest. One person becomes a client, the other person is a customer. It's the only way you're able to do it. You have to walk a fine line because really, generally speaking, then you're just there as to consult and write paperwork. You really can't negotiate for either party. I've done a couple of dual agencies with like investors or people that really know what they want. It's real hard to do dual agency with the first time buyer. I'm gonna tell you that now. As a matter of fact, if I get a first time buyer, I'd rather refer them to a person with my team before I try to negotiate, because I'm fighting hard for my seller to keep their money. You're a buyer, you fighting hard to get money. How are we gonna make this work? Especially a first time buyer. Now an investor, they're different. They know what they want. They're good.
Yeah.
So let me.
So you deal with luxury homes, right? Yeah. And over the course of maybe a couple of years, you've seen the median home go from $275,000, you said,
yes,
to now $325,000 in Atlanta.
Yes.
What are some of the factors that have led to that, and what have you noticed with the buyers? What demographic is doing the buying?
Well, predominantly my clients are all African American.
Okay.
So it's us. We are making some moves here, and what's the driving force is Atlanta is growing. Now people can say what they want about Mayor Kasim Reed and when he tore down all them churches and built that built the dome, tore down them historical churches. But at the end of the day, when he made that move and they built the Mercedes-Benz Dome and they kind of created State Farm Arena and they redid that, it created more opportunity for us. Now we have more opportunities. We have soccer games here. We have so much that's going on. Champions.
Yeah, champions.
So all these things. So we start with sports and then let's go out. Now you got people like Tyler Perry telling people to come down here and build their own tables in Atlanta. You have The Rock that just bought a $9 million house here. You got Cardi B that just bought her house here.
Yeah.
What is happening here is people are seeing that there is wealth here. And the good thing is that's that's how prices go up. We're creating our own black Mecca. Yeah. We're becoming the black Hollywood that they said we were going to be. When I first moved here, they was talking about the Beltline. When I first moved here, they were saying that we're going to be the next black Hollywood. I see it actually happening now. And that was from 2006.
Speaking of Atlanta, speaking of the Beltline, and I saw a little baby on the Breakfast Club talking about, I guess he's from the west side of Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying that his neighborhood, the prices is going up because of the Beltline. Can you talk about that?
You say he's a big client of yours?
No. This is a big project.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Beltline is just basically a Beltline connecting the entire city of Atlanta. People only think about the Beltline being at the bottom, but it actually goes all the way around. And so what it does is really to help us, one, with traffic so you can get on and off the trolleys. But then on top of that, you have like parks and all these things that are connected. So we're really trying to build our own communities within the community. So they do yoga in the park. You can now bike the Beltline down in South Atlanta. So they're creating these opportunities so we can be more like New York, how y'all got what you guys have. So we're trying to create that, and there's restaurants and there's like live work spaces. So you're really trying to create that environment, because now everybody is, no longer has the aspiration to get the big house in the suburbs. People now want to be close to the city. They're sacrificing space for that, and they want to enjoy their lives. That's the millennials. They want it right now. So they want to walk outside right now. They want to go on the trolley and get to where they need to go right now. So that's the big part of the Beltline.
So Atlanta, specifically, since we're in Atlanta, like what's the hot area that, because it's the west side, that's like when Mercedes-Benz Stadium is on the west side, right?
Yes.
That's like the hottest area in Atlanta right now for real estate?
It's a lot of hot areas. if I had to choose one, like that had the most appreciation value, this based on the numbers. Oh, yeah. I was running them the other day. They up 21%. Is the city of Decatur.
Decatur.
Yeah, the city of Decatur is up 21% on appreciation values. The last time I checked on the west side, they're up 12%, which is still good. East Atlanta is hot, but they're up 8% because East Atlanta is actually taking a little while longer to get through the process and gentrify than other areas.
We in East Atlanta right now, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
East Atlanta Center.
30316. So 30316, this area is growing. If I could tell anybody about zip code 30316, 30032, that's the city of Decatur, and then 30318, that's the hot area on the west side.